Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. This morning's discussion will be on a smiling God could create a humorous universe. A smiling God could create a humorous universe. It is a single line aphorism from Sri Aurobindo in the equivalent way, that is 478 aphorism number. So we can find Sri Aurobindo quotes in his own language. A God who can't smile. Smile. S goes smiles. Smiles. So a God who can't smile could not have created his humorous universe. Not only world or any regions here in the course. This is the universe. And what is the type of that universe? That is a humorous universe. So it has been created, it is created, it was created. Anyway, it is created by the God naturally, there is no doubt of it. But here in the course here, a God who can't smile, could not have created a humorous universe. So he was humorous, he created, he was smiling, and of course he is. So he has to, that is the tendency. A God who can smile, in our words, a God who can smile could create a humorous world. God, naturally, it is capital G, one and unique. It is a great thing we have seen. Anyways, here in the course again, God took a child to fondle him in his bosom of delight. Very interesting. God, anyways, as the mother takes her child into her bosom for her pleasure and of course to feed. Anyway, God took a child to fondle him in his bosom of delight, but the mother wept and would not be consoled because her child is no more existed. So imagine how the contrariety, how the paradox is developed here in another format. That great thing has been described. See, Sri Aurobindo quotes, God has taken his child. God has taken her child to fondle him in his bosom of delight. But problem is, but the mother wept and would not be consoled. Wept and would not be consoled because her child no longer existed. Because this sort of ignorance is not to be consoled, not to be clarified. This is the true thing. The mother in ignorance thinks of a lot of things. Original motion, original purpose of the God, it is yet to be known. Totally, she is not aware. So the God took a child to her to fondle him in his bosom of delight. Bosom of delight. Here he was crying. He was actually repenting, crying, and the God has taken to fondle him in his bosom of delight. The mother wept. That is the problem, and would not be consoled because her child no longer existed. Again, when I suffer from pain or grief or mischance, three things have been quoted here. Sri Aurobindo quotes, when I suffer from pain or grief or mischance, I say, so my old playfellow, thou hast taken again to bullying me. Just see another format, another style. Same way Sri Aurobindo quotes, when I suffer from pain or grief or mischance. Pain or grief or mischance, three things, when I suffered from all three, I say, so my old playfellow, thou hast taken again to bullying me, and I sit down to possess the pleasure of the pain, the joy of grief, the good fortune of the mischance. Again, so you see, this is my prayer when I suffer from pain or grief or mischance. Then time from spontaneously the word, the prayer comes out. Oh, so my old playfellow, thou hast taken again to bullying me. Sometimes people normally get worried, they get breakdown, but actually here in the quotes I have quoted. So my playfellow, thou hast taken again to bullying me. Then what really I do? No, normally people that do that they go this way because they are worried. But I sit down to possess the pleasure of. I sit down, number one, to possess the pleasure of pain. First it was pain, then joy of grief. It is second. Second was grief. Third, a good fortune of the mischance. Then he sees he is found out and takes his ghost and bugbear away from me. So normally seeing the chance of pain, grief and mischance, normally people break down, they bend ahead, they strike like anything, they go almost mad. But thing is that on my part, I sit down and I think, I pray, old playfellow, thou hast taken again bullying me. It is not the reality what really people say, and with the way which normally people feel and behold. But I take on the other way, on the different side, different view. I sit down to possess the pleasure of grief again. Number one, then the joy of grief. Third, good fortune of the mischance. Then what happens? He sees he is found out. He sees he was actually hiding, but he sees he is found out and takes his ghosts and bugbears away from me, and I am safe. Again, we can go for the another good examples like there is a beautiful comparison in aphorism number 476. When will the world change into the model of the heaven? That is a great question, because now we are pursuing the integral yogic method. The purpose this earth will be changed to transform to heaven. There are also so many conditions. Earth will be transformed the heaven, or heaven descend into earth's mortal state. For such, this is sure in the course, it is a vast spiritual change. For such vast spiritual change to be out of the mystic cavern in our heart, the heavenly psyche must put up the veil. Now he has put on the veil, now it has to be put off. And step into common nature's crowded rooms. As he can't sit idly being passive inside, he has to step into the common nature's crowded rooms and rule the thought, feel the life and mind, take the lead. So with this, only earth can be transformed to heaven. Here also the question is put by Sri Aurobindo in his aphorism number 476. When will the world change into the model of heaven? That is a great question. Normally we put before the God. When that glorious moment will come and it will be materialized, I want to know the time. Sri Aurobindo then answers in two different ways. Number one, when all the mankind become boys and girls together with God. When the mankind becomes boys and girls together with God, revealed as Krishna and Kali. Entire mankind has to be boys and girls with God, revealed as Krishna and Kali. Again, the happiest boy and the strongest girl of the crowd playing together in the garden of paradise. That is what the condition. Entire mankind has to turn big, boys and girls together with God, revealed as Krishna and Kali. So here the happiest boy and the strongest girl, two things: happiest guy and boy and the strongest girl of the crowd playing together in the greatest gardens of paradise. Again, secondly, Sri Aurobindo quotes, but something somehow there is also other side. Sri Aurobindo has quoted and Sri Aurobindo has displayed. Try to explain. The Semitic Edens, I know from the Edens, Eden, if we have seen. The Semitic Eden was well enough, naturally. But Adam and Eve too, grown up, and the God himself is too old and stern and solemn to offer the serpent to be resisted. So, naturally, the one condition that entire mankind has to become boy and girl with God, and who is revealed as Krishna and Kali, the happiest boy and the strongest girl of the crowd, playing together in the garden of paradise. Then here in the course, the Semitic Eden was well enough. Very interesting. So in the second format here in the course, it was there boys and girls they have to be they have to come together, and entire mankind has to become boys and girls together with God revealed as Krishna and Kali. Then this happiest boy and strongest girl of the crowd playing together in the garden of paradise. Then only it is possible. Sri Aurobindo goes for a little bit back. The Semitic ages, this Eden, he was also enough. But actually, this was the old period. And Adam, Eve were grown up. They were too old. Adam and Eve, we know from which the creation has come out, this formation. They were grown up, and the God himself was too old and stern and solemn. At that time, Adam and Eve were grown up. God himself was too old and stern and solemn to offer the serpent to be resisted. They could not resist the serpent. That's what it happened. But thing is that time, that scenario, even the Semitic Eden's theory, that has been also changed. Now it is a very lovely option before you, fine option before you. The entire mankind becomes boy and girl together with God, revealed as Krishna and Kali, the happiest boy and the strongest girl of the crowd playing together in the gardens of paradise, and this earth will be changed, it will be transformed again. Here in the quotes here, the Semitics, just now we quoted Semitics, the Semites, sorry, the Semites we have seen. The Semites have afflicted mankind with the conception of a God who is stern and dignified king and solemn judge and knows not mirth. So it is very much in a clear-cut manner, crystal clear manner. We see the Semitics were afflicted have Semites as afflicted mankind with their conception of God. They have afflicted the mankind with their conception of God, who is stern and dignified king and solemn judge, and knows not the mirth. But we are not as Semitites. They have what they have done, but we who have seen Krishna know him for a boy fond of play and a child full of mischief and a happy laughter. So this is the difference between Krishna, Semites principle, Semites theory, and of course our theory, taking Krishna as a boy of know him as a boy, fond of play and a child full of mischief and a happy laughter. That is the difference between our present phenomenon, present style of type of seeing, and of course the old theory which was the Semites had put forward. That's what's here in the quotes again. We'll try to quote it again. The Semites have afflicted mankind, afflicted entire mankind with the conception of a God. This God, in their Semites conception, it is coming stern, dignified king, and solemn judge, and known not the mirth. So they have got this type of idea on God: stern, dignified king, solemn judge, and knows not mirth. But here, in our principle, in our beholding, in our description, here in the course, we who have seen Krishna again, Krishna, know him for a boy fond of play, boy fond of play, not old, not grown up, not resisting, as already we have seen, registered the snakes like nothing like this. We have seen Krishna, know him for a boy found in play, and a child, second, a child full of mischief and happy laughter. Just imagine how it is functioning. The difference between principle, the looking, the theories of the Semites, old theories, and of course our theory. He was, they have taken and thought of course, behold, of course, clarified in one way, but our principle is totally different. Their God is stern, dignified king, solemn judge, and of course, you have seen knows not mirth. But here we have seen Krishna, know him for a boy fond of play, child full of mischief and happy laughter. This is the difference between their point of seeing and our point of description. Again, we can go for a little bit forward and finding the great scenario. The seeker after divine knowledge. The seeker after divine knowledge finds in the description of Krishna again. So description of Krishna, the seeker in the divine, after the divine knowledge, when he gets the divine knowledge, finds in the description of Krishna stealing the robes of gopis and the of the deepest parable of God's ways with the soul. That Bastra Harana, robes, stealing of robes of gopis, that Bastra Harana while they were taking bath that way. And the devotees of the perfect rendering in divine act of his heart's mystic experiences, they know purient and of course Puritan. Two faces, number one, number two. Number one is Puritan and number two is Puritan. Two faces of one temperament. Only a lost fool story. It is only a lost fool story. Men bring what they have in themselves and see reflected in the scripture. That is the problem, that is the great scenario. Man sees what is there in them. Already we have quoted the story, we have seen. When I see mod in you, mod definitely that is not in outwardly with you, but mod in me, mod in my eyes. Like that they really behold and they really see. Really, it is a glorious description. How really we are. That is reflected in our vision, in our sayings. So initially, the Vastra Harana from the Gopis by Krishna. It is a glorious description. It is a parable of God's ways with the soul. Because it has been seen in the vision of the soul, in the sight of the soul, in the sight of the spirit. So that is taken by the disciple, the Lila of the Krishna. But when they are taken by the other side, when with the lustful story, those who behold, those who hear, they feel something like experience Puritan and purulent. So that because past type is totally different, they have seen in their sight of the soul. Here it is everything is mind, mental, they take for caricature. But first one that they have got the truth, they have emerged deep into their heart and with the sight of the spirit they have visualized. So it is one thing, same scene, same description, but actually problem is that how much the consciousness has been developed and of course elevated. With that the story comes to the story finds the true meaningful way of the description in one way, another with the humor. They don't know, they simply try to they come for the caricature or something. But thing is that truth is truth, there is no doubt of it. Will live pure in mind and perfect this prominent in psychic can know and understand what is the God's seeking, what is how the God's lila and style of work goes on. Anyway, we have to be very much confined to our spirit's vision and the soul's achievement, soul's beholdings, so that we can know the truth. Bande Matram.